Hello, welcome to MakiChat 6. I've posted 2 project videos since the last, more like 1.5 project videos since the last MakiChat video. I made a picture frame and that turned out pretty nicely. And then I did a video where I talked about how I made this contraption, which is a speed controller for my homemade drill-powered lathe. Now the picture frame video got a lot of good responses. Some people asked why I added those little triangular splines in the corners, and that is because just those little miter joints that are holding the pieces of the frame together, for one, they're pretty small surface area for glue, and it's end grain on end grain, which typically is not a very strong glue joint. So I added those triangles to just increase the surface area for glue, and also it provides some non-end grain surface area for the glue to hold those corners together. Now the frame I made was pretty small and there's not a lot of force really at those joints, but over time with changes in humidity and temperature, the wood will expand and contract and you could end up popping those joints. So I included those little splines to beef up the strength of the joint, and plus they look cool. So the other video I showed how I'd made this device. It's just a dimmer switch connected to an extension cord that I use to control the speed on a drill that's part of my drill powered lathe. And it's a device I built over 10 years ago. I had this crazy idea to try to grow a palm tree in my tiny little apartment bedroom. And so I ordered some seeds, and I needed to germinate those seeds, but they needed to be kept at a constant, relatively warm temperature. So I thought of this device that was basically 2 boxes, a plastic box on top that held the pots with the seeds, and then a box below that with some slits in the top to let heat out, and inside that box I had an incandescent light bulb. But just having the light bulb on full blast would produce too much heat. So I was like, I could just use a dimmer switch. So I just hooked up a dimmer switch to the extension cord, and I could tone down that light bulb and dial in the exact temperature I needed to germinate those seeds. And it worked. I germinated 3 palm trees and grew those up in my little bedroom. And then when I moved out of there, those palm trees ended up at my parents' house. They currently still have one of those palm trees, and it is ginormous. It's doing quite well. The other 2 were donated and they're actually still alive last I checked. So in the video where I showed how I made this, I mentioned that I wasn't sure if this was completely safe for the motor on my drill, and some people left comments, and so what I've learned is that it is safe for the drill motor. I'm not doing any harm to it, so that's nice. But I learned that I might be doing some harm to the dimmer switch. And as it turns out, like literally a couple days after I learned this dimmer switch died. I was using the lathe, turned it on, used it, turned it off, went and started cleaning up, and all of a sudden the drill just turned on, and I was like, whoa. So what had happened, it still works if I press the button in and out to turn it on and off, but the dimmer function is completely blown. So I'm gonna have to replace that. But dimmer switches aren't that expensive, so I'm just gonna replace it and still use it with the expectation that eventually that new switch is gonna blow at some point. My experience though is dimmer switches don't really last all that long anyway, even when used properly. So not a big deal, but if you build something like this, be aware that the dimmer switch is very likely going to die at some point. So I have an Etsy shop that I posted some of the wine cork bobbers I'd made, and within a couple days someone came in and bought all but one of them, which is great. But then I was like, oh, I have no more stock. So I went and I made a bunch more bobbers, and I've posted those to the Etsy shop. And there's some more traditional designs, and then I kind of went crazy and kind of came up with some kind of funky shapes. So a little mixture of both are now in the store if you're interested. Some shop news. I got a drill press. I'm pretty excited about it. It's nothing fancy. It's an 8-inch drill press from Harbor Freight. It wasn't very expensive and it's small, which actually it's quite important to me. I wanted something small because I don't have much room to store tools, and I've played around with it a little bit, and it's not the nicest drill press in the world, but it seems to work okay, and I think it's gonna really come in handy. Let's see, future projects. I'm currently working on 2 projects. Both are for Christmas presents though. So, well, the one I'm definitely not gonna post that video until after Christmas, and realistically probably won't get posted until after New Year's. You know, I don't want to give away the surprise on that one. The other one is a present for a child. So if I get the video finished, I might post that before Christmas. We'll see. So that's all I have for this time. I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Hello, welcome to MakiChat 666. That sounded evil. Hey, no. End grain to hold those corners, you know. That wasn't bad. One more time though. So on this speed controller for my home, this is getting deleted.